predictions in the out year, and that could have very extreme consequences if we come toward the higher element of that. I'd just like to point out that the IPCC is an international one, and that scientists from around the world, including all the countries in the Asia-Pacific region, South Asia, Southeast Asia, Northeast Asia, are participating in that report, including 4 from Bangladesh working on the IPCC 5 report. Okay. So that's a real quick overview of what the science behind climate change is. Let's move from climate science to environmental science. What's the impact of climate change? Well, global warming causes environmental change through higher ocean temperatures, higher land temperatures, and higher air temperatures. And in turn, the consequences of these are more heat energy in the atmosphere, which feeds tropical cyclones. The greater amount of evaporation to the greater temperature leads to more precipitation. In fact, 2010, the year just passed, had more precipitation worldwide than has ever been measured before. And it's also tied for the hottest year worldwide that's ever been measured. In addition, there's a potential rise in sea level, an observed rise in sea level from thermal expansion of ocean water. Up until now, the rise in sea level due to melting of ice in the polar caps is negligible. It hasn't really occurred yet. It appears that it is occurring, especially in Greenland, but it hasn't really started yet. The observed sea rise that we've seen, which amounts to about 1 millimeter a year over the last 20 or 30 years, has been due to thermal expansion. What happens to a body when you heat it up? It expands. And when you heat up an ocean, it can't expand down, and it can't expand side to side, so it expands upward, thus giving the observed rises in sea level that we've seen. And it appears that this is happening faster. It appears that the rate has increased to about 3 millimeters a year over the last 5 years or so, as opposed to a rate of about 1 millimeter a year for the 20 or 30 years before that. This, of course, is a phenomenon that high atmosphere and higher air temperatures lead to greater melting of the ice caps and glaciers, and more about that later. But they also lead to more rapid spring snowmelt in the Himalayas, for example, or in the Rocky Mountains in North America, which leads to changes in the amount and the kinds of water available for farming and agriculture in ways that have been relied upon for a very long time. And the overall tendency is for the water to come off faster, leading to less water available later in the summer because the ice is already melted and flowed down to the ocean. And then, in addition, this leads to reduction in rainfall in some areas, even though over the planet as a whole, there's an increase in precipitation. But in particular areas, the change in the weather patterns leads to reduced rainfall and drought. And then finally, higher ground temperatures. This is important because desertification follows when the evapotranspiration rate, that is to say, the amount of water coming off the plants and the green things on the field becomes high. This can lead them to desertification as the amount of water going out of the plants in the land, out of the biota, becomes greater than the amount coming down. Plants die. Okay. And then finally, the melting of permafrost, not much of a problem in Bangladesh, but up in places like Canada, Alaska, and Russia, why the ground is frozen from the top down, and thus is called permafrost. As that permafrost melts, there can be a release of methane, which is an even stronger greenhouse gas than carbon dioxide, from the organic matter that is tied up in that permafrost, and then gets released into the atmosphere as the permafrost melts. And indeed, this isn't just speculation. The IPCC has noted these indications of climate change happening now around the world, retreating mountain glaciers. This picture is from your neighbors in Nepal. Rising sea levels. This shows that the change in sea level overall, average since 1994 for about the last 15 years, has been on the order of 30 millimeters.